I am a man of honor, integrity, and promise. I pursue all righteousness. I love my family. I will not put my family in harm's way. There is nothing that will keep me from doing the right thing. I am an ambassador of hope and a man of discipline. I am a man worth following. I am a TYRO.
Hello everyone, welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Cathy.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina. And for those of you that don't know who we are, Ron and I spent 15 years in the prison system. Ron doing time on the inside, and my children and I doing that same time on the outside. But through that experience, we developed a program called TYRO.
The word TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, or warrior. And I tell you, that's what we get to help create and reinvent in people's lives. The men and the women that come and sign up for the TYRO program, they become true people, true warriors, and they understand what it means to protect family. And that's what this next segment's all about, relationship.
Right. So we started on our last show, we started a 6-part series called Prioritizing the Things That Are Important as You Transition Back Home. And so there are actually 5 things, and so we're going to list out those 5 things. This week we're focusing in on relationships. That's number 1. Number 2 is jobs.
And number 3 would be your parole officer and the relationship you have with them.
Number 4 is reestablishing and keeping good credit.
And number 5 is reinvesting in your community and how you can become a contributor versus an extractor.
So as we break down each one of these concepts, you're going to learn things that nobody else is going to be teaching you, nobody else is going to be talking about. And today we're going to dig deep into relationships.
One of the advantages that Cathy and I have is that we're coming from not coming out of a book. We're coming firsthand knowledge. We've lived this. We've experienced it. We know what it means to be shunned. We know what it means to be hated and to be hated upon. But we also know what it means to be loved and to be supported and cheered for. And so we want you to know there's people out there cheering for you. But you got to do your part in order to become cheerable, if you will, right? For lack of a better word. Where people will surround you.
Cheerable.
Yeah, cheerable. Well, they'll surround you and support you. You know, so as we move forward in this topic called relationships, we want to really deal and dig deep into what it means to have a healthy relationship and to be able to discern what is healthy and what is not, and to have that courageous conversation with yourself. If you're still that type of snake that is spewing venom wherever you go, instead of, as we in TYROs, what we say, we are now the antidote. You know, we can practice these principles where they will change not only the course of our life, but the course of our children's and families' lives.
And so what we really want to help you acknowledge today and recognize is that there are challenges to maintaining healthy relationships, whether those relationships are with your children or your significant other or extended family members or friends. There are real challenges while you're inside. But we also want to prepare you because the challenges don't stop when you get on the other side of the gates. It seems like while you're in, wow, it's going to be so much easier once I get home, but that's not always true. And so today we're going to unpack all of that. We're going to talk about the myths, and we're going to tell you the truth and give you some practical tips.
So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about Mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today we're talking about relationships and how having good, healthy relationships relates to prioritizing what things are important as you come home.
You know, and that's the key word, prioritizing. Prioritizing what's going to help you become successful. Is getting a job number one? Probably not. But though that's how men think that are incarcerated, the first thing I got to do when I get home is I got to get a job. And we're here to challenge you on that theory. We believe that the number one priority is your relationship. Because if you're not having a successful relationship with your wife, your kids, your significant other, the mother of your children, whatever that may be, your relationship at home is number one.
And so today we're really going to hit hard on relationships, and we're going to keep it totally real. And so in this segment, I'm really going to rely on you, Ron, to really kind of break down what are the different roles that men play when they're in prison. Because when we were talking about this last night, I was like really intrigued. I was like, wow, yeah, I see that. I see that in the clients we've served, and I see that in the people that we saw in the visiting rooms. And so let's talk about that.
You know, as we really started breaking this down, and we try to put a person or people in a box, it wasn't that difficult to really break it down. You know,
It didn't seem.
And guys, I know you're going to really relate to this, because the first phase that we really looked at, or the first role that a man would probably play before you came to prison, you were doing all this before you came to prison. Some of you might think you might still be this, the player. You know, then the next one would be somebody who's a rogue. And the next one would be a knight in shining armor. And we're going to break all this down as quickly as possible to really give you an understanding. But the last phase, or the last role of a man that each and every one of us should embrace, is the role of a real man or a real dad. And that's crucial to get to that place in our own evolution as fatherhood, manhood, that we embrace that role in all its fullness of what comes with being a real man, a real dad. And the first one we talked about is being a player. What is a player?
It's somebody I don't want, that's for sure.
And a player is really somebody who, in prison we use the term mush fake, right? In prison we use, and out here we would call him a pretender. Somebody who believes he's all that and a bag of what?
Chips and a
bag
bowl
of
of
chips,
Cheerios.
you know, bowl of Cheerios, all that. That's a player where he believes he can get anybody he wants. He can manipulate any situation. Everything is about him.
And I'm going to challenge you. Do you think that they really believe that they could get anybody they want, or that that's what they portray and say?
No, that's a great point. That's a great point. It's really all a facade. They're portraying that, because really a player, and this is my experience and our experience working with thousands of men, a player is somebody who's hurting. If you see somebody who's got that swagger, and he's walking around and he's not really embracing the reality that he's living in,
then he's really living in insecurities
I mean,
that are manifest in that way.
Can you imagine if you're living in the low-income housing unit, but you're driving a Cadillac, but you're living in the housing unit where you got to pay rent according to your income, but you don't tell nobody you got real money over here because you're doing whatever illegal things you got to do. See, this isn't real manhood. This is living a fantasy life. This is not how real adults live.
And being a player does not get you a healthy relationship. And when your relationships are not healthy, then that creates instability in every other area of your life. So if you really want to prioritize things as you come home, you know, you can't be that player. You can't be that inside, because you're setting a foundation as you transition home and back into your family's lives. And so let's talk about rogue, because that's another really interesting one.
Rogue is a deep dude too. This is a guy who is undisciplined. This is a guy who doesn't want to be held accountable to anything or anyone, who he wants the lady at home, he wants the kids there, but he's rogue, so he doesn't even answer any of those
So there's no accountability.
There's no accountability for the rogue. This is the man who's not even being accountable to his peers, not being accountable to the people that are overseeing him.
So is this the song that you sing all the time, looking for love in all the wrong places?
You know what?
Is that this guy?
That's the rogue, because he believes that he can manipulate, and that just his smile alone will get him what he wants. You know, and
the smile alone might open the door, but in the long term, the rogue is not the guy that has healthy, successful relationships.
And you got to be careful with the rogue too, because when he's undisciplined, a man who's undisciplined is a dangerous individual, because a rogue doesn't care who's going to hurt. Now, a player, You know, he's conscious of when he's manipulating somebody or he's trying to win somebody over, right? Because he's got that swagger. He's a wooer. He can woo people into liking him, and he can, you know, he's got that enchantment type ability. But a rogue, he doesn't care who's in the way.
But what about a knight in shining armor? I mean, like, that seems like a knight in shining armor. When I first heard that, I thought, yeah, you know what? I think that is what
you know what? I believed when you would come to visit me that I was going to be that knight in shining armor. But then reality started hitting that, you know what? I was telling you that when I come home, I'm going to fix this. When I get home, we're going to do this. When I get home, we're going to do this. But
everything's going to be okay.
I'm going to fix everything.
And I'm going to show up and the world is going to come right.
And when I had to come with the truth with sweetheart, you know what? I don't know how to run a table saw. I don't know how to change the oil. You know what? I don't know how to do these things. The Mr. Fix-It-All, handyman, that wasn't me. And no, I can try to portray that I'm going to fix everything I broke.
But the truth was, even while you were in prison, I wasn't looking for a knight in shining armor. What I was looking for is someone real, somebody that I could really connect to.
And that's what we're talking about. What does it take to get past those three type of characteristics? The player, the rogue, the knight in shining armor. To be real, to be sincere, to be so transparent that what you see is what you get, but I'm always working to become better.
So stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to talk about what you're going to get in those roles and what you really need to be as you transition to the outside. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you are not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy TYRO's own personal experience with incarceration. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You will be prepared to overcome the obstacles of your incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You'll be one of the honored, a man worth following.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tiarina.
And I'm Cathy Tiarina. And today we're talking about relationships as part of our series on setting your priorities as you transition from inside prison to home.
And how to have a successful transition. Because this ain't easy. It is not easy from leaving that environment of penitentiary into what we call society out here. Because if you don't have your priorities right, you're going to resort back to your best thinking that you thought was your best thinking that got you where you're at today.
And so in our last segment, we talked about the different roles that men take on inside prison as they're trying to have healthy relationships, but really not knowing how to have a healthy relationship, so that they're taking on one of three fake roles, or they're really being real and taking on the right role of man or father.
And so when you transition out, what the roles we talked about was the first one was player. You know, and if that's the role you're practicing inside prison and you bring that out, what does that look like when you're a player outside and you're still trying to believe that you're all that in a bag of chips? You know, that's the player mentality, that you can win over everybody, that everybody likes you, and that you really believe that it's all about who?
You.
It's all about me. You know, and you're the player.
That's right. You're the most popular guy. Everybody wants to be with you. But the truth is that's born out of insecurity, because a secure man knows the difference between a real relationship and a fake relationship. And so if you're a player, then you're really looking for fake relationships because you're not secure enough in who you are to develop a real lasting relationship.
And the next one was rogue. You know, and this guy is truly undisciplined. The rogue, he'll go out, but he'll come home, but he doesn't care who he hurts. You know, he doesn't care who
he's looking for love in all the wrong places, and he's wanting to have that stable relationship. So from the woman's perspective, so the rogue shows up and she thinks, oh gosh, I'm so glad he's finally here, and that relief sets in, and he's kind of playing that that role of being the man of the house.
Well, he's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, but then he takes off and he's out all night. And so then he's out with his associates, somebody shuts up the door, he disappears, because he really isn't settled in who he is either. And so the rogue is accepting false intimacy in place of real intimacy, because they have wounds or hurts inside that they're not willing to address.
And you know
and
what's
overcome.
key about both these roles, the player and the rogue, they're both undependable.
Right.
You can't depend upon that guy to do what he says he's going to do, because a player is going from ship to ship, from home to home. He's not looking to settle down anywhere.
And it's going to affect every other area of your life. And then the third one sounds all shiny and nice and wonderful, the knight in shining armor.
Dum-da-da-dum.
And so when he first shows up, of course, everything is wonderful.
You know, you head back to that honeymoon phase.
Right. Until, like, I can't get through the armor. Chink, chink, chink.
Because I got this armor on. If I'm that knight in shining armor mentality, you know, I'm not going to be intimate. I'm not going to let you really see the real me. I'm not going to let you know I don't know how to fix it. I portrayed in the visits that when I get home, everything is going to be all right.
It's going to be perfect.
I'm going to give you that picket fence dream and the picket fence
And when we come
fantasy.
home, I'm going to take total good care of you. I'm going to rub your feet. I'm going to brush your hair. I'm going to make dinner. I'm going to take out the trash every night.
And the truth is, I don't know how to do none of that.
And there's no
right?
such thing as perfect. The truth is, practice makes permanent, not perfect. And I know you've heard us say that before, but we're going to say it over and over again. And you know what the truth is also? We're not looking for somebody that's perfect. We're not looking for the knight in shining armor. We're looking for the man that is real, the man that's going to connect and build friendship, that's going to build a relationship that is not just physical. Because when we look at these, the player, the rogue, and the knight in shining armor, the player and the rogue are focused very heavily on a sexual relationship, not on a real relationship. And the knight in shining armor is focused on being perfect and creating a perfect environment, and that's not real either. But a true man, I mean, he'll get down and get dirty into the weeds and help fix things. And fixing things means fixing past hurts. It means building bridges. It means being real and creating a lasting relationship.
One of the things that we help the men that we work with out here is really get involved in the everyday living at home. Everyday living, that means washing the dishes, ironing the clothes, doing the laundry. Not only doing the outside stuff, keeping the garage clean and mowing the yard, the typical man stuff, but the stuff
I'm really super glad you do the man stuff. I'm so glad I don't have to do that.
But that's you know, we don't want to be stuck there. We want to be the guy who vacuums. We want to be the guy who where you come home from work, you've worked all day, take a seat, I got it. You know, let me cook dinner.
Or that we join in life together. And so, you know, having that real man that shows up, and that's a man that can connect and be honest and trustworthy, and the man that can be strong and yet gentle and caring, that can be transparent and can share feelings and ideas and dreams and aspirations, but be real about it.
And the thing about being a real man is one who really listens. You know, not to fix it all, not always trying to fix everything.
Not fake. I mean, we're not waiting for fake. We're looking for something that's real and transparent and the real McCoy.
So as you guys begin to really understand what we're talking about and really see and really just make that conscious decision, I want to be a real man worth following. You know, if you're not practicing those type of skills and behaviors in there, you're going to resort back to what got you in where you're at now, because that's easy to do. It's easy to put the mask on.
So as you're inside and transitioning out, it's super important that you find classes and courses and people that can help you develop real relationship skills and help you connect in a real way. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how these things impact your children. So stay tuned, because you don't want to miss this next segment.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Cathy.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And today we're talking about relationships as it relates to setting priorities as you transition from prison to home. And this is part of our 6-part series.
And what we talked about today is being a player, being a rogue, being a knight in shining armor, or just being a real man or a real dad, and what those things look like and how they affect your success transitioning from inside the prison to outside.
And so on this segment, we really want to focus in on how does this affect your kids? Because whatever role it is you're playing, it has a direct impact on your kids. And so we want to talk about what that playa or what that rogue or what that knight in shining armor, how are they leading their kids? And how is it, what's your impact? What's your legacy going to look like for your children?
So if you're acting like the player on the outs and your children are seeing this, and then they begin to mimic that behavior, that believing that you're talking about your 15-year-old son and he's believing he's that gift to every woman out there, and he's thinking like this, and he's thinking everything's sexual. Where's this coming from?
Well, and he's thinking that that's what he should be thinking. So he's just acting on what he believes is expected of him. And inside, and your daughters too, there's a deep need to really connect on a real level. Every human being has that, to really know and to be known. And so to bring our relationships to such a surface level of being that player going from relationship to relationship builds walls and actually numbs our emotions, and it causes us to get involved in really unhealthy relationships with broken people. And so think about, dads, is that where you want your daughter? I mean, you might be so broken that you think that's where you want your son, but I know you're not so broken that that's where you want your daughter.
And we look at the rogue and the undisciplined and not caring at all about who they hurt and who they affect. And then we see the backlash when children see this type of behavior and they begin to emulate that in schools, in their neighborhoods, and they're always in trouble. They're always that one who's so defiant because they become rogue and undisciplined and not wanting to be taught or to learn how to treat others or how to behave in a manner that is respectable and acceptable in society today.
They're not accountable, they're disrespectful, dishonoring, and so we hear parents say, well, I don't know why he or she, they're always acting like that. I tell them the rules, they say that they're going to follow the rules, and then they do what they want to do anyway. Well, the chances are really good that they've seen that rogue behavior in their parents. And they say, well, okay, they commit to this, but they don't show up. Well, what is it you're saying you're committed to, but your actions aren't showing that you're really committed to?
Well, we could see this in children, age of 5 years old, when they're cussing. They start to drop the F-bomb and start to say, all types of vocabulary that is vulgar. And we're like, where are you hearing this from? And of course, we already know it's from their parents usually. Right. They mimic what they see. And so we have to become a person of where I don't want to be a player for my kids. I don't want to be rogue. And then another thing we don't want to become outside, and how does this affect our kids? Being that knight in shining armor, being that person who is not real.
Right. And so we just show up, and we show up to just have fun and take them out and do something just fun, but we're not there in the real moments of life. We're not there helping them through their homework, helping them navigate relationships, helping them figure out what the issues are and solve those issues and problems, helping them build their science projects. Like the knight in shining armor will show up with fun and games and in that moment, but they're not there for all the
He'll
other
show
moments
up
in
with the
between.
glimmering lights and the glamour and all that. But the truth is, dads, when their children are seeing that and they're believing that that's what you're all about,
It's unrealistic expectations.
It's not real, because every time you show up, you got to bring something. You're not bringing them what really they want. What they really want is your time. They want to hear your ideas. They want to hear your dreams, and they want to learn how to dream by you teaching them how to dream.
And you're setting them up for failure, because if they look at you as being perfect and that they have to be perfect, then there's a standard that they're never going to meet. And so you're setting them up for huge disappointments as they strive to be that.
So remember, dads, if you're not the man you want your daughter to marry, right, you need to become that man, because we guarantee you that your daughter's going to marry a man like you. So you need to come to a place in your own mindset and your own discipline where you want to become that real man, that real dad, the one people look up to as the hero, or when you hear your sons and daughters say, that's my dad and I'm proud of him.
More than stuff, more than vacations, more than trips, more than anything else, what your kids need and what they want is you. They want you to be part of their lives. They want you to teach them and mentor them and show them what it means to fail and to stand back up and keep going in your journey and to succeed and to celebrate those successes, not as the norm, but as a, wow, we reached it. Now we got to turn around and work hard again for the next success.
They will learn what hard work equals by watching you. They will learn that getting a job and showing up to work and passing drug tests and getting raises and working overtime, they will learn these principles from watching you. Because when you show up to work on time and you clock in and you're there and you work that extra overtime, whatever it is, they're watching you, how you conduct yourself, Dad. They're watching you, even how you carry yourself in a visit. When you come out, I remember I was coming out and I was a bodybuilder, right, in prison, and I'm working out every day, and I'm coming out with my shirt all tailor made with the V look and all that type of stuff, and I'm trying to promote this facade. You know, really I'm hurting inside. I'm broken, but I don't want Cathy to know this. So I come out and I'm blowing it, but I didn't know it because I'm believing I'm that knight in shining armor. That I'm going to fix it all. I'm promising the kids when I get home, our life is going to be different. It's going to change. But the truth is, I didn't know how to be a dad yet. You know, I'm still trying to figure that out.
And so when you set the expectation of perfection, you're going to miss it. So stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to give you practical tips on things you can do right now to begin to build healthy relationships. They're going to help you become successful as you transition home. We'll be right back.
Completion of TYRO Dads is just the beginning of the opportunities available to you. As a TYRO Dad, you will be eligible to participate in workforce strengthening services to help prepare you for employment and open the doors to economic stability for you and your family. The Workforce Strengthening Program starts with job ethics training. Once completed, you may be eligible to receive training to acquire your commercial driver's license while still inside prison. If getting a CDL is not for you, then there is also a welding training program you may be eligible for. As more programs are being added, there really is something for almost everyone.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Cathy.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we've been talking about relationships, how to leave penitentiary or leave that environment and come back into society successfully. You know, what are our priorities and what is it going to take for us to become successful?
And so today we've talked about the different roles that men play in relationships, whether that's being a player, whether that's being rogue, a knight in shining armor, or a real man and a real dad. And so as we close out this show, we want to give you some practical tips and things that you need to be doing and working on right now so that you can build success through your transition and back into home.
So the number one is, to begin that real tough conversation. You got to talk about the reality that you live in and what has happened. You got to be able to, because when you're on a visit, it's about fantasy. It's about, we're blocking everything out. We don't want to deal with the real. We don't want to deal with the bills.
But when you get home, all the real comes crashing down. So you got to begin those conversations now. What are going to be the obstacles in your relationship? And maybe the relationship is just with your kids. Maybe you have a wife or you have a significant other. But talk about those things. Talk about forgiveness. Talk about the way you've let them down.
Talk about the bridges that you broke and how you're going to fix those bridges. Earning the respect and honor and the trust of the people that you've hurt.
And so that leads us into the second thing. So one is begin those tough conversations, and two is set real expectations. And so begin to just put those expectations down. Like the expectation is, okay, I'm going to go home and my children are not going to accept me right away as being the leader in my house. The real expectation is I'm going to go home and the stuff I used to do is going to come to the forefront of my lady's mind.
A true reality is, guys, when you get home, and I say this, and I don't say it, this is a serious place to really look at. You're not even going to go home and buy your own toilet paper. That is a serious reality. When that hit me, that I'm going to come home and count on somebody else to buy for me toilet paper. And that's a blow to my ego, right? But I had to accept that reality. And once I embraced that and understood that,
here,
right
baby,
now,
have all the toilet paper you want.
I'm not the breadwinner of the home, and that's something that we talked about. That's something that we dealt with. That, honey, you're going to pay the bills. I'll get home and I'll begin looking for a job and all those things that we have to talk about.
So setting real expectations is super key. But then the next one is going to sound really crazy, is develop a disaster plan.
Because there are disasters on their way.
So relationship disasters. Your kids aren't going to necessarily accept you right away. Your spouse isn't necessarily going to just be like you're that knight in shining armor.
If you got a dog at home, your dog might not accept you when you get home.
So you need to know what are those resources that you can rely on. Where is it you're going to go for the information? What are you going to do when you need help when the disaster happens?
You need to talk to somebody else. Who are you going to call?
And make sure you've got those numbers handy. So we just want to thank you for joining us today on TYRO TV and letting us be part of your journey toward becoming a better man.
So until next time, always remember
That
we are rooting for you.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of integrity.
I am a man of faith. I am the antidote.
I am a man of discipline. I am a leader.
I am strong.
I am a man worth following.
I am a TYRO.